What if I told you that everything you learned about how humans first arrived in America was wrong? For decades, scientists believed they had solved the mystery. Then, in 21, archaeologists made a discovery that changed everything. Ancient footprints, perfectly preserved for over 23,000 years, were found in New Mexico. But here's the thing that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. These footprints shouldn't exist. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this discovery is rewriting history books and why the story of how Native Americans came to America is far more incredible, mysterious, and complex than anyone ever imagined. But first, let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered how an entire continent became populated by indigenous peoples thousands of years before Columbus was even a thought? Today, we're going on an epic journey through time, ice, and ancient mysteries to uncover the real story of how Native Americans came to America. We'll explore groundbreaking archaeological discoveries, challenge long-held scientific beliefs, and reveal evidence so compelling it's forcing experts to completely rethink human history. Plus, I'll share 3 shocking theories that will blow your mind about our ancestors' incredible journey. But here's what makes this story truly extraordinary. It's not just about the past. It's about understanding who we are today and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. But before we dive in, I need to warn you. This story will challenge everything you think you know, because the truth is, even today's top scientists can't agree on exactly how it happened. Some evidence suggests multiple waves of migration. Other clues point to a single, massive journey. And then there are discoveries that make absolutely no sense. Until now. Throughout this video, I'm going to reveal 3 game-changing pieces of evidence that most people have never heard of. The first one involves a discovery so shocking that when archaeologists first found it, they thought it was a hoax. The second will make you question everything you learned in school. And the third, well, it's going to blow your mind. But here's the catch. I'm not going to reveal these in order. You'll have to stick around to see which revelation comes when. Trust me, you won't see any of them coming. The Bering Land Bridge Theory. Let's start with what scientists thought they knew for over a century. The Bering Land Bridge Theory, also known as the Beringia Theory, seemed to have all the answers. Picture this. It's 15,000 years ago. The world is locked in an ice age so intense that massive glaciers have trapped enormous amounts of water, causing sea levels to drop by over 400 feet. This creates something incredible, a land bridge nearly 1,000 miles wide connecting Asia and North America. Scientists called this bridge Beringia, and they believed it was nature's highway for early humans. The story seemed perfect. Nomadic hunters from Siberia, following herds of mammoth, bison, and caribou, unknowingly walked from one continent to another. But here's where it gets interesting. These weren't just random wanderers. Archaeological evidence shows these were sophisticated people with advanced hunting tools, complex social structures, and incredible survival skills. The first Americans. For decades, scientists believed the first Americans were the Clovis people, named after distinctive spear points first discovered near Clovis, New Mexico. These beautifully crafted points, with their characteristic fluting, became the smoking gun of early American occupation. The Clovis first theory dominated archaeology for 70 years. It was clean, it was simple, and it seemed to explain everything. The timeline worked. Clovis points dated to around 13,000 years ago, right when the ice-free corridor between glaciers would have opened, allowing passage from Beringia into the heart of North America. But science has a funny way of humbling us. And that's exactly what happened when archaeologists started finding things that didn't fit the neat Clovis first narrative. Remember I mentioned 3 shocking discoveries? Well, here's the first one, and it's about to shatter everything we just discussed. In '97, archaeologist Tom Dillahay was working at a site called Monte Verde in southern Chile. What he found there should have been impossible according to the Clovis first theory. Human artifacts, dated to 1400 years ago. But wait, it gets even more impossible. Monte Verde is in Chile. That's 10,000 miles south of the Bering Land Bridge. For humans to have reached Chile by 1400 years ago, they would have had to cross Beringia, navigate through or around massive ice sheets, traverse the entire length of North America, cross Central America, and journey deep into South America. The mathematical impossibility was staggering. Even if these early people traveled non-stop, which they obviously couldn't, they would have needed to cover nearly 3,000 miles per century. That's assuming they knew exactly where they were going, faced no obstacles, and never stopped to, actually live. This wasn't just challenging the timeline, it was obliterating it. The Pre-Clovis Revolution. Monteverde opened the floodgates. Suddenly, archaeologists were finding pre-Clovis sites everywhere: Meadowcroft Rock Shelter in Pennsylvania, Buttermilk Creek in Texas, Paisley Cave in Oregon, each site pushing the timeline further and further back. But the evidence wasn't just about timing, it was about diversity. These early Americans weren't all using Clovis technology. They had different tools, different hunting strategies, even different ways of life. Take the Paisley Cave discoveries in Oregon. Here, archaeologists found something extraordinary: human DNA preserved in coprolites. Yes, that's ancient poop. But this ancient DNA was 1,400 years old, and it told a fascinating story. The DNA revolution. While archaeologists were digging up artifacts, geneticists were digging into DNA. And what they found was revolutionary. Native American DNA shows clear Asian ancestry, supporting the Beringia crossing theory. But here's the plot twist. The genetic evidence suggests not one, but multiple waves of migration. Some groups arrived early, others much later. Some may have taken completely different routes. Dr. Jennifer Raff, a geneticist who studies ancient populations, discovered that Native American DNA contains unique markers that developed in isolation. This means early Americans were cut off from Asian populations for thousands of years before spreading throughout the Americas. But where were they isolated? On Beringia itself? In some ice-free refuge we haven't discovered? The DNA whispers secrets, but doesn't reveal all its mysteries. The coastal migration theory. As evidence mounted against the simple ice-free corridor route, scientists developed a new theory: coastal migration. Picture this alternative scenario. Instead of walking across frozen tundra, early Americans were accomplished mariners. They built boats, followed the Pacific coast, and island-hopped their way to the Americas. This theory is brilliant because it solves several problems. Coastal routes would have been ice-free and rich in marine resources. People could have traveled quickly by boat, explaining how they reached South America so fast. And here's the kicker. Much of the evidence would now be underwater, drowned by rising sea levels after the Ice Age ended. It's like the perfect crime. The evidence literally sank beneath the waves. But remember, I promised you 3 shocking discoveries. The second one completely changes how we think about the intelligence and capabilities of early Americans. In 2016, marine archaeologists made an incredible discovery off the coast of California. On the Channel Islands, they found something that rewrote the book on early American maritime technology: a 13,000-year-old seafaring culture. The Arlington Springs site revealed that early Americans weren't just coastal survivors. They were master mariners. They were building boats, navigating treacherous waters, and establishing island communities while most of the continent was still locked in ice. But here's what makes this discovery absolutely mind-blowing. These weren't simple rafts or canoes. The evidence suggests sophisticated watercraft capable of carrying families, supplies, and even dogs across dangerous ocean channels. This wasn't primitive survival. This was advanced maritime civilization. Multiple routes, multiple peoples. As evidence accumulated, a new picture emerged. The story of how Native Americans came to America wasn't a single epic journey. It was multiple journeys, multiple peoples, multiple routes, spanning thousands of years. Some came via Beringia during ice-free periods. Others hugged the coastline in boats. Some may have even crossed the Atlantic, though that's still highly controversial. What we know for certain is that by 15,000 years ago, diverse group of people were already adapting to life across both North and South America. Cultural explosions. And adapt they did. Within just a few thousand years, these early Americans had developed hundreds of distinct cultures, languages, and technologies. From the Arctic whale hunters to the Amazon rainforest dwellers, from the plains buffalo hunters to the Pacific salmon fishers. This wasn't gradual adaptation. This was explosive diversification. Humans took a continent and made it home in ways that still inspire us today. The Younger Dryas mystery. But there's still one more mystery in our story. Around 1200 years ago, something catastrophic happened. The Younger Dryas, a sudden return to Ice Age conditions that lasted over 1,000 years. During this period, many large animals went extinct. Mammoths, giant ground sloths, saber-toothed cats, gone. The Clovis culture disappeared. It was like someone hit a reset button on American civilization. What caused this catastrophe? Climate change? Overhunting? A comet impact? We still don't know. But here's what's remarkable. Native Americans survived it all. Which brings us to that third shocking discovery I promised you, the one that changes everything. In 2021, archaeologists working at White Sands National Park in New Mexico made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. They found human footprints, dozens of them, preserved in ancient lake sediments. These weren't just any footprints. Carbon dating revealed they were 23,000 years old. This discovery doesn't just push back the timeline, it obliterates it. These footprints are nearly 10,000 years older than anything we've found before. They predate the last glacial maximum, when ice sheets covered most of the northern continent. If humans were in New Mexico 23,000 years ago, they must have arrived during an earlier warm period, survived the harshest ice age conditions North America has ever experienced, and then somehow remained invisible to archaeologists for thousands of years. It's mind-boggling, it's revolutionary, and it means we're still just at the beginning of understanding this incredible story. So, how did Native Americans come to America? The answer is, in ways more remarkable and incredible than we ever imagined. Ice Age survivors, master mariners, innovative communities who crossed frozen continents and navigated treacherous seas. They've been the true Americans for over 20,000 years. This isn't just ancient history. It's the story of human determination and the endless quest to find home against impossible odds. Which discovery blew your mind most? Those 23,000-year-old footprints or the sophisticated boats? Drop your thoughts below. If this fascinated you, hit subscribe because next week we're covering how ancient Polynesians navigated thousands of miles of open ocean with no instruments. You won't want to miss it. End screen with subscribe buttons and related videos.